The Apostle Paul's declaration in Romans 10:8-9 encapsulates one of the most profound and accessible statements regarding the means of salvation within the Christian tradition. He quotes an earlier passage, presumably Deuteronomy, and applies it directly to the nascent Christian faith. The word is nigh thee, even in thy mouth, and in thy heart, that is, the word of faith, which we preach. That if thou shalt confess with thy mouth the Lord Jesus, and shalt believe in thine heart that God hath raised him from the dead, thou shalt be saved. This declaration is significant because it moves the concept of divine access from a distant, mystical experience or a complex system of ritual adherence to something immediate, personal, and accessible to all. Understanding this passage requires examining the meaning of the proximity of the word, the dual requirement of heart belief and mouth confession, and the ultimate promise of salvation it secures. The first key element is the accessibility of the word. Paul asserts that this saving message is nigh thee, even in thy mouth, and in thy heart. This echoes the immediate context of the passage in Deuteronomy 30:11-14, where Moses speaks of God's commandments not being hidden beyond reach but present in the immediate physical and mental faculties of the people. In the New Testament context, this word is specifically identified as the word of faith, which we preach. This faith centers on the historical reality and divine identity of Jesus Christ. The proximity described here suggests that the necessary truth for salvation is not obscured by esoteric knowledge or geographical distance. The message has been proclaimed and is within the hearing and comprehension of the intended audience. The word is in thy mouth, because it must be articulated and declared. It is in thy heart, because it demands genuine internal assent and conviction. This dual localization bridges the gap between external proclamation and internal reality, suggesting that authentic faith is both spoken and felt. The mechanics of attaining salvation through this word are then explicitly detailed in the subsequent verse, belief in the heart and confession with the mouth. The internal component, believing in thine heart that God hath raised him from the dead, addresses the core theological premise of Christianity. Resurrection is not a peripheral detail but the foundational validation of Jesus' claims and the demonstration of God's power over sin and death. Believing in the heart signifies more than mere intellectual acknowledgement. It implies complete trust, reliance, and the internalization of this truth into one's core being and worldview. Historically, this contrasts sharply with reliance on works of the law, which, while emphasizing outward obedience, often failed to secure the inward transformation that genuine faith fosters. As articulated in Pauline theology generally,